What's up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Golf on Tap. This week, we'll be breaking down the first leg of the PGA Tour's playoffs. The regular season has now concluded, and we're on to Memphis, Tennessee, TPC Southwind for the FedEx St. Jude Championship. As always, to everyone out there, make sure to go and smash the like button. Go and follow on YouTube as well so you can get in on the comment section. Let us know who you're going to be betting on this week, who you like, who you don't like, what takes of ours you agree with. Go and interact with us in the comment section. As always, I'm Jack Bushman here alongside my partner in crime, Joey Knows Nothing. We're into playoff season, baby. The end of the season. I know some people kind of have mixed feelings on the FedEx Cup playoffs. A lot of folks have kind of tuned out and feel that golf's, kind of already wrapped up now that the major championships are in the rearview mirror, but not for us, Joey. We got a tournament this week. We won it last year with Will Zalatoris. We're trying to cash another outright here at TPC Southwind. How you doing, brother?
Not up in here. Not up in here.
Not up in here.
Good, man. I'm doing good. Yeah, we're ready. I think we're ready for the playoffs. We're not taking a break. Obviously, we're super pumped for next week, which we'll get into later. But yeah, man, a little bit of a rough weekend we had, it sounds like. I wasn't able to watch much because of Festa Italiana this last weekend, but me and your boy, so my boy and your boy, Russell Henley and Billy Ho were right there neck and neck, and neither one came through, and you were just a week early on Lucas Glover. So, yeah, a little bit rough there for us, but good. I don't think we're too far off as far as strategies go, and looking forward to this week. How are you?
Yeah, Billy Horschel, really frustrating Sunday after I think he had 18 consecutive straight rounds in the 60s at Sedgefield Country Club, fired off back-to-back rounds of 8 under on Friday and Saturday, was looking really good in the final pairing with the glove, who of course went on to win. Billy Horschel, I believe, fired it was actually a 2 over 72, I believe, because the only hole he birdied was the 18th, just to kind of rub it in my face. Couldn't make a putt all day long and would have been a great 66-1 winner. Russell Henley does what Russell Henley tends to do in stressful situations on Sunday down the stretch. And yeah, Lucas Glover, who I've been on for quite a while here. I mean, I think I've bet Lucas Glover probably in 3 of the last 5 or 6 events because the ball striking had just been so good. And like a couple of guys, switches to the broomstick putter made all the changes in the world on the putting surfaces, and he really rode that to victory on Sunday by staying sturdy. So, yeah, a little heartbreaking to not have money on the glove. To kind of add insult to injury too, Joey, one of my good buddies who follows all my golf stuff and takes my picks most weeks was made the smart decision to continue to ride Lucas Glover last week, and he got himself an outright ticket. So, yeah, a little bit of salt in the wound there, but no harm, no foul. Hopefully, though, we can get a winner here in the first leg of the playoffs for the second consecutive year, man. Obviously, it's the top 70 in the standings here at TPC Southwind. And as your little tag there says, poor Justin Thomas, just on the outside of that top 70, finished 71st, had such a close call on 18, needed to chip in from off the green for birdie in order to clinch a spot into the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it rang off the flag stick and bounced out. He falls to the ground, completely heartbroken. And had Russell Henley won, Justin Thomas actually would have slid into that 70th position. So Russell Henley didn't do Joey nor Justin Thomas any favors this weekend, but throw it to the side. We were both right there, which is what you like to see. You like to have Sunday sweats. You'd obviously prefer to win them, but having guys in the mix is what we try to do week in and week out. So we both accomplished that last week. Hopefully we can ride that momentum and carry it over here and get the winner this time.
And I think we will. I have confidence in us, Jack. For here, this FedEx St. Jude Invitational used to be the St. Jude Classic. But I don't even know what I called it I think I might have said championship. Who knows what to call it? It's the St. Jude.
It is the championship. It's gone through a bunch of different changes in recent years. So I'll give you some leeway on that. But you did call it correctly. It is the St. Jude Championship. It was the WGC St. Jude Invitational for 3
That's what
years.
I was thinking.
And then
Yeah.
before that, it was the St. Jude Classic. So it's gone through a lot of changes. And that's why, honestly, we don't have like a ton of data on this course or a ton of past results, because when it was the St. Jude Classic, it was kind of a ho-hum PGA Tour event, maybe comparable to like, I don't know. I'm not going to throw shade to any other PGA Tour events, but most of the good golfers didn't really tee up there until it became a World Golf Championship in 2019, where that drew the best fields in golf. There got some prestige and some notoriety around this tournament. And then the PGA Tour last year elected to get rid of the Northern Trust, the first leg of the playoffs, and replace it with the St. Jude Championship. For anyone having confusion out there, I know it can be a little bit tricky to dive through all of this when you want to go look back at past results or look at guys' previous finishes. You're like, what do I even call this tournament? It's a little bit of a mess, like a lot of things are with the PGA Tour. If I've learned anything about covering the sport, things are a little bit all over the place. That just kind of happens with professional golf.
Yeah, it is what it is. We get a lot of different changes. We were just talking about some that are going to be taking place for the fall swing. So, yeah, removal of tournaments, the CJ Cup, moving of tournaments, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it happens quite a bit here with the PGA Tour. But what I like to do as far as like course history, as you mentioned, it's different because you have different strengths of golfers, different years looking at past history here. But I do still like to look at that course history above all else instead of just looking at – that's kind of how I like to sort things, because even by tournament, it's tough because, you have different tournaments, the same tournament name at different course locations, and, it varies that way. So somebody can say, oh, guy's been really good at the Open. Well –
right.
Where have they been?
Exactly.
So it's not really the course comp you can really look at there all the time. I mean, they try to make them somewhat similar for some of those majors, but you catch what I'm putting down there. But yeah, first round here, FedEx Cup Playoffs. Of course, like we said, next week is the BMW Championship at Olympia Fields, which you will be covering that event. Jack, very excited about that. I know you are super excited about that. Memphis, Tennessee, the course, TPC Southwind, par 70, little over 7,200 yards, about 7,243 yards to be exact. Looks like there's 2 par 5s, 4 par 3s. It's Bermuda grass, greens and rough, quite a few bunkers and water hazards. And it is a no-cut event. So past winners here, last year we saw Willie Z finally break through in that playoff, knocking off Sepp Straka, who was on a heater at one point.
Scared the shit out of me the whole fucking back nine and throughout that playoff. I'm like, is Sepp Straka really about to win a playoff event right now?
It felt that way. It really felt that way. He got himself into some major trouble there. I think Willie Z, wasn't it a bogey he ended up winning on? He bogeyed that.
Yeah, dude, it was that crazy whole sequence where Willie Z went first at the par 3, and his ball, the luckiest bounce ever, that actually pretty much won him the tournament. His ball, I guess it didn't win him the tournament. Regardless, his ball got wedged in between like the corner.
That's right.
It got wedged. It didn't go into the water. It got wedged in the corner, which left like Sepp Straka in a little bit of doubt. So he literally just had to hit the center of the green, and the tournament was his. Instead, he puts one in the water too, and then Willie Z got up and down from his drop and made bogey to get the win. It was wild.
Dude, that was the sickest kind of sequence there, because watching it, how many guys do you think the next day or a couple days thereafter or that week went back and were like, how can we play this shot, this Willie Z shot? Like, is there a chance that we could play this shot? And I mean, he made the smart decision. But I mean, that was just unreal. What if he would have tried to take that shot there? That was kind of crazy.
I think his caddy would have ripped his club out of his hands. That would have been an insane decision.
It seemed like he was going to, though, for a minute. I was
he looked at it forever. And I don't know if that was just like tactics to make Sepp think he was going for it, but he looked at it for like way longer than I wanted him to.
Yeah, same. Did we both get an outright on him that week? Was that?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Yeah, all right. See, we can do it here. We can do it here at the St. Jude. So that said, though, Jack, give me your little rundown here of TPC Southwind, what we can expect again this year, or just like maybe something you learned from the past few years, or even last year when we were betting on it and winning on it, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Even though it's just over 7,200 yards, Joey, it is a really tricky course because it has the second narrowest fairways on the PGA Tour, along with the third smallest green complexes. So very narrow from tee to green. There's a very it's pretty penal to miss these fairways as well, not only because there's Bermuda rough here, as you mentioned, Bermuda greens too, but normally on the PGA Tour, most weeks we see this Kentucky bluegrass rough that guys have gotten pretty comfortable with. Bermuda's a little bit trickier, and this can generate some flyer lies and just cause the ball to do different things than what the players expect. And then there's also 11 holes where water comes into play. There's tons of creeks, ponds, lakes, and there's also tons of fairway and greenside bunkers that really punish wayward shots. So it really requires being sturdy, being accurate from tee to green. I think on a course like this, given that you see the best players in the world here as a first leg of the playoffs, and also when it was a WGC, you probably want someone who's a combination of long and straight to give themselves less yardage in and is playing from the fairway. And obviously the best players in the world have that capability. But I think hitting greens in regulation is super important here with the minuscule green complexes and just so much danger lurking everywhere. And putting has also been really important here as well. Now, the thing that's tricky about it, though, Joey, is these greens really don't have much to them because they're so small. There's not a lot of three putts. You just don't get a lot of like 70-foot lag putts on these greens. And also, there's not a lot of undulation. They're fairly benign compared to most weeks on tour. And that's kind of why we've seen some poor putters like a Will Zalatoris, who, to be fair, he was in a good stretch on the greens there, but known as a not good putter. Justin Thomas, known for not being a good putter. They performed a little bit better on these greens, and they also were able to kind of ride on their ball striking. So what I've taken away from the winners at this tournament is there's a couple of different ways to get it done. I think you got to be playing from the fairway and hitting your approach shots in close, having good proximity and giving yourself a ton of birdie looks, or you can ride a super hot putter here as well. We've seen Abraham Answer rode a super hot putter here. Brooks Koepka won with his putter here as well. So there's a kind of a couple of different ways to get the job done. But one thing that has been very clear is the top players have won at this tournament. Koepka, Justin Thomas, Will Zalatoris, guys who have won here have been very solid players. One thing I will also point out too, with this being a par 70, only 2 par 5s on this course, both normally play as the easiest holes, but there are a ton of par 4s. There's 12 of them and 8 are over 445 yards. So a lot of approaches coming from 150 to 200 yards. I've been looking at those proximity buckets for a lot of statistics, but that's kind of my rundown. And I think we're either going to see someone kind of ride a super good Iron Week in order to get this victory here, or we're going to see someone be able to capitalize with their driver and putting combination.
Well, I love that you mentioned the 150 to 200 yard bucket because that's absolutely something I'm looking at this week as well. It just seemed like when I was looking down the list there, I love using data golf. Obviously, it's something that we mention just about every week. It seemed like a lot of those shots are projected to go from that distance, at 150 to 200 yard mark. And then on the flip side of that, you got guys a lot more projected between 100 and 150. And those are probably your longer hitters more than likely, like Rory McIlroy. He's projected for the most in that 100 to 150 yard approach shot range. So I'll be honest, I didn't look a ton into putting this week. And it's just for that reason, like you said, like we've seen guys who can be pretty boom or bust with the flat stick, like a Willie Z win this tournament. So I am definitely, I love the good accuracy, the accuracy little dumpers. Just dump it in there, get it straight, get it on the fairway, hit your greens. I like some of those tournaments that we cover and we do just about every week, it feels like lately. Not every week, but we've had quite a few of them that we talk about a lot of these accuracy guys. So definitely something I'm looking at here. Greens and reg. Yeah, this is a very tough tournament to hit your greens in regulation. So, with that said, though, Jack, I do think it's super important. Fairways and greens. And why are the Cubs and Mets tied at 2? That was not the case a minute ago.
I think they just got 2 in the bottom of the 5th. The Mets did.
Yeah, that's bullshit. All right, back to golf. Because I'm going to get upset, and I don't want to get upset. Scotty Scheffler. You want to jump right into it?
Yeah, let's get to it.
Scotty Scheffler, top of the board. No surprise. Plus 600. Jon Rahm, first in the FedEx Cup standings, plus 900. He's your second favorite. Rory, well, actually right there with him, plus 900. Patrick Cantlay, 16-1. X going to give it to you, 18-1. And then Victor Hovland is 20-1. So starting at that 20-1 range and under, as far as favorites go, who are you liking here? I'm guessing you're on at least one of them.
Surprisingly, I'm not on any of these guys, and I don't know how to feel about it. I honestly
don't. In the playoffs?
I don't really know how to feel about a majority of my card this week, and I've been torn with a lot of different guys, and I don't know, man. It just feels like we haven't seen a lot of these big name players since the Open Championship. There have been some guys riding good form recently. I don't know. There's a lot of cases to be made for a lot of different players. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler disappointed everyone, including myself, at the Open Championship for his first finish outside of the top 12 since like October. Still ended up finishing in the top 25, though. And I mean, you talk about playing a clean game from tee to green and easier putting surfaces, right? You could easily make your case for Scotty Scheffler. I think you could make a case for basically any of these top 3 in particular. Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele for me, and even Victor Hovland. None of them really have good history at this course. I'd prefer Hovland on a course where I think he'd be able to utilize his driver and his driving distance a little bit more than here. I actually really like him for the BMW next week, Joey, but Schauffele and Cantlay are just 3 guys who I don't think I can get to whatsoever given their course history. And, Hovland's won this year, but Cantlay and Schauffele have just hovered around 16 to 18 all year long, and they haven't done shit. I can't get to them at those numbers. I think, especially with DraftKings offering that like plus 300 boost, Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy, getting either of them at 12-1, I think would probably be the way that I would go if I were to bet one of these guys. Rahm obviously had that great finish at the Open to finish T2, but was just too far back of the weasel. Rory's been on an incredible run. I think he's got 7 straight top 10s. The putter's been dynamite. The approach has been dynamite. So Rahm and Rory would be the 2 that I would personally lean with. But no, this is not where I started my card. And honestly, don't know if that's the smart play. We'll find out on Sunday, but I'm not on any of these guys.
It is surprising coming from you, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all by your decision there, because I think it's probably the right decision, value perspective wise, and just looking at, like, I don't trust any of those 3, Xander, Cantlay, or Victor Hovland on this course, for the course history reasons, but also like Xander and Cantlay, like you mentioned, these guys just don't seem to have that winning upside this year. Not to say that they don't have that winning upside, but just this year, it just doesn't seem like it's there. And they could always flick that switch and just get right there.
For sure.
Which is always scary, and that's why they're favored or where they're at in the odds board. So, but yeah, Rahm is actually my pick. You kind of stole my thunder there with the plus 300 DK boost, because that's exactly what I did. 12-1 for Mr. Rambo. To me, that's incredible value for him, getting that 12-1. I don't like anything under 10-1 for anybody normally, but he's like a $5 spaghetti dinner to a college kid. Like, let's be honest, spaghettis are supposed to be, like that $15, like a good spaghetti dinner, like $10 to $20. You're paying up. You're paying a premium. Like we're getting the ramen noodle prices here at 12 to 1 here. That's a nice value for John Ramen Noodle. But yeah, so I do like the 12 to 1 there. Outside of that, I'm not on anybody until the 22 to 1 range. I am on somebody there. Colin Morikawa is 22 to 1. Tyrrell Hatton is 22 to 1. Ricky Fowler, your boy. I love Ricky Fowler too. Tommy Fleetwood 30 to 1, and then Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, Sam Burns. That's a whole section right there. Sam Burns, Tony Finau, and then Wyndham Clark 35 to 1. So it's a pretty wide range. We could have probably split that off a little bit better, but where are you at with the 22 to 35 range?
Yeah, obviously, given that I didn't start at the top, this is where things really get going for me. And my first click, the Mad Hatter, Tyrrell Hatton. And I kind of, I don't feel exactly the same that I do about Will Zalatoris going into this tournament, but Hatton gives me Willie Z vibes because he's just been playing so freaking good all year long, particularly as of late. Top 10 in 7 of his last 8. Decent at the Open Championship, but in his outing prior to that at the Scottish, your boy was up at 4 a.m. at the casino going through a little bit of a sweat with Tyrrell Hatton being the back 9 leader. I'm watching in the sports section at 4 a.m. like an old degenerate. And then he blows it. Robert McIntyre and Rory McIlroy end up going on a scoring frenzy there at the end, but Tyrrell Hatton has just been knocking on the door for so long, Joey, and he's just been incredibly steady all year long, 4th in strokes gained total. I memean, he's incredibly well-balanced, incredible putter. The approach has been really good this season, really good scrambler. I get that feeling that this is the spot for Tyrrell Hatton. I trust his game. He doesn't have great results here, but this has also been undoubtedly, I know he hasn't gotten the win yet. This has been his best season on the PGA Tour, undoubtedly. So I'm going to be riding with Tyrrell Hatton this week. That's where I started my card. And I think this range is really intriguing as well. I mean, Ricky has just been on a run all summer long. I know it feels like he's cooled off a little bit, but you talk about a guy that can get hot with the putter and with approach. It's what Ricky Fowler's really been doing all summer long. Tommy Fleetwood, I mean, golly. If you don't include his name in there and just look at the results and you see Tommy Fleetwood, you see he's as big as 33 to 1 still on Bet Rivers. His results are so good, but man, it really
I thought I saw 35. Did he go? Oh, he was 33. Okay.
But I just feel like, man, and I said this, if it wasn't going to happen for Tommy at the Open, it just really feels like it isn't going to happen. It really felt like that was the time, and he had all the crowd support, and he had that good Thursday. And it was him versus Brian Harman, and he got outdueled by the Weasel. I can't get there on Tommy Fleetwood. And look, if you're giving me Tyrrell Hatton at 25 and Tommy at 33, like, I know combined they have 1 win on the PGA Tour, but I'd rather have Hatton. I would. So I think Tommy's a good fit. I'll probably bet him first round leader, to be honest.
And that's actually probably the wisest move. But in fairness, the Weasel absolutely crushed it that week. Like,
no, make no mistake, no doubt. But
he was beating anybody that week.
We're going to look back on that one and be like, Tommy Fleetwood had to beat Brian Harman to become a major champion, and he didn't. I mean, no one beat Brian Harman. I'm not nagging on Tommy too much. The Weasel was absolutely unbelievable that week, but you're not going to get many better major opportunities, man, where you're not having to go and battle Jon Rahm or Scotty Scheffler or Rory McIlroy. He had to go out there on Friday and Saturday and be better than Brian Harman, and he wasn't.
Do you think, well, and this is also just goes back to a Tommy issue too, where you just don't trust him to when he gets in those situations against anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, I don't think he's.
Don't even get me started on the Canadian Open, where all he had to do was make a 4 on a 499-yard par 5, which on the PGA Tour is an absolute joke. And he lays up and makes a 5 and then goes and loses in the playoffs. Man, like, I love Tommy. I love the results. But you just mentioned it. I have zero trust in this guy. I have zero trust in him.
Yeah, 4 of his last 5 have been top 10s, just to speak to your point. I mean,
Been great.
wow, he's been there. But I'm with you. I'm not on Fleetwood, and I pretty much tell you every week, never Fleetwood at this point. So yeah, definitely not going there. I am betting. So I love your Hatton pick, Terrell Hatton. I do love the 22-1 Hatton pick, but I had to make a decision because if I wanted to bet more people, I can't just bet everybody 12-1, 22-1, like anyone in this range. So if I'm betting John Rahm with the boost 12-1, I needed to make a decision between Hatton and Colin Morikawa. And I'm going to bet Morikawa 22-1. 5th place finish here last year. Off the tee, accuracy, approach, proximity, greens and regulation, all the things I really care about this week, Morikawa excels in. So I am going to pull that trigger because I'm not going to get overly worried about the putting, and we're not even going to talk about it. So we're just going to go ahead and fire that bullet there, 22-1. And then we kind of mentioned the 35-1 range a little bit. There's a couple here that I am betting as well. So I want your thoughts on some guys in this range. But Sam Bermuda Burns, 35-1. I think he was at a better number earlier in the week, and I didn't pull the trigger. Probably should have, because the more I looked into it, the more I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, Sam Burns is actually, I mean, some life out of Sam Burns lately. He's flashing something, showing a pulse. T14 last week at Wyndham. Excellent putter on the Bermuda grass, just like we're saying, Bermuda Burns. Nearly pulled off the win in at TPC Southwind here in 2021. So go ahead. I'm going to fire that up and give him a shot. The other guy I like, he's back. After a couple weeks off, oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh,
You can't help yourself, can you?
I can't. Oh, what a beautiful day. Has a T6 here. Yeah, it was from the 19 to 20 season.
The 1920 season?
1920 season.
Yeah, the last time he was good was 1920.
Yeah, this is way back in the day.
Okay.
God, man, we're talking about. Anyways, I could name all the things that were like 1920 way before we were even alive. But Jason Day, dude, I really like the way he's golfed this year. He does have a win under his belt this year. There's a reason why he is one of the best golfers on tour this season. Outside of just even those wins, he's been really, really consistent. So I am going to go with Day 35-1 because I think it really is. You just look at it, the totality of his season, it's kind of a misprice. I feel like he should probably be close to that 28-1 range, if I'm being honest. Not even biased Jason Day fan at this point, even though I kind of am. But Jack, yeah, your thoughts there? Anybody else in that 35-1 range?
Yeah, this is a really good range. I'm also in on Sam Burns. I got him at 40-1. He did open at a couple of these guys opened at bigger prices. Burns was 45-1 to open the week. I wish I did jump on that. But yeah, I got him at 40. You mentioned Bermuda Burns, might be the best Bermuda putter in the world. 4 of his 5 PGA Tour wins have occurred on Bermuda surfaces. And even though he's only been full-time on the PGA Tour for 3 years now, only Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy have more wins among all players in this field on Bermuda surfaces in this career. He's been really good with the putter as of late. Throw away the Scottish Open and the Open Championship, which also I was on him at the Scottish Open, finished T16. The approach numbers look bad, but that was all because he literally had one shot where he got stuck on the lip of the bunker. It was a really weird lie. He completely made a mess of that hole and ended up ruining his tournament. But other than that, Sam Burns was right there in the mix. That occurred on Saturday, kind of cost him his chances on Sunday, but he's been pretty solid here as of late. The approach numbers have been popping, which is what you want to see. He's got really good results on this course, finished T20 last year and lost out to Abraham Answer along with Hideki Matsuyama in a playoff in 2021. So I like his course history. I do have some concern about his driver because he's not accurate and can get a little bit wayward, but he's gotten away with it here twice. The approach numbers have popped at this course. And of course, he is a really good putter and short game player as well. So I got in on Sam Burns as well. I do like the Jason Day play. I just love giving you shit for Jason Day because I think you've bet him probably 15 times this year. Like in counting the fall and this entire season, like I don't think anyone, me or you, has bet on anyone more this season than you've bet on Jason Day. But I've seen a lot of love for him, and obviously he had that really good showing when you were on him at the Open Championship as well. So I certainly get that. Wyndham Clark was someone who also opened at 45-1, and obviously we know what he can do with the putter, and has really had a different kind of feel around his career now that he has 2 very prestigious wins and he's made himself a very solid approach player. I think those are pretty good numbers, but Sam Burns was the only one that I got to hear. And not to go too far back, but I do really like your Colin Morikawa pick. That was kind of where I was torn at as well. And honestly, I'm hoping I do have a little bit of money left over because I took some long shots. Morikawa feels like one I really want to get on, but I just don't know if it's financially going to work. But I do really like his game. Like to see that we're riding Sam Burns together, though.
Yeah, that is nice. I mean, really wasn't expecting you to be on Burns here, 35-1. So that's awesome. And I probably would know that if I would have checked out your article, which I encourage everyone to do. Go check out Jack's article at ontapsportsnet.com. 2 articles this week, the preview and then the betting picks. So go check both of those out. I usually try to avoid them until we do this show. I did have a little bit more time today, so I was thinking about, okay, maybe I should check it out. And then I put it off, and I was like, right before the show, I need to eat something. So instead of checking it out and cheating, I ate something, and I cheated on cheating. I'm not sure if that makes sense. But, yeah, that's kind of what I did. And go check out his articles over there at ontapsportsnet.com. Getting into the 40 range, Cam Young, 40-1. A lot of things kind of stuck out here with Cam Young for some reason. I don't know what it was in particular, but I didn't end up betting him. But a couple of things that I was looking at, maybe it was the numbers of ranges, expected shots that kind of stuck out with Cam Young that I was looking at that might be interesting to check out for him this week. But Tom Kim, 40-1. Max Homa, 40-1. The Weasel. We can't call him that anymore.
I know, I forgot.
45-1. Matthew Fitzpatrick, 45-1. And then the models love him, but I hate him now. 45-1, Russell Henley. So, Jack, 40-1 to 45 range. We could throw Matsuyama in there too, 50-1. Getting to anybody in here?
Yeah, but before I do that, I think we got to add to Russell Henley's nickname here. Just continuing on the H train. Hollywood Heartbreak Kid, Russell Henley. The Heartbreak Kid, because God, he loves breaking hearts on Sunday. It's just, I think he likes that more than winning. He just likes crushing everyone's spirits. But I do like this range as well. Obviously, this is a very stacked field, so we're going to get some good golfers in this range. The first click that I made was actually the guy that you started off talking about, Cameron Young. I got him at 50-1, though, to open up this week, which I thought was a really good number. And similar to Willie Z vibes, I mean, Cam Young's been knocking on that door as well. And I forgot to reference this about Sam Burns, but they can be said about both of these guys. Both are trying to really get that final couple of spots that are up for grabs for the United States Ryder Cup team. And obviously, Cam Young is right there on the bubble with Sam Burns. And I think some good showings here in the FedEx Cup playoffs would go a long way. Obviously, Cameron Young's last outing wasn't what we wanted, and I was on him at the 3M Open where he wound up missing the cut. But truthfully, it was the week after a major where he had a really heartbreaking Sunday. Probably should have seen that one coming. I'm not really going to hold it against him. His season has just really been like that, though. Lots of ups and downs. But what does he do when he's right? Absolutely nukes that driver. And I would prefer it on a different course, but I still do think when his driver's right, he gives himself so many looks. And you talked about those buckets where you think a lot of his shots are going to come from. Cam Young rates out extremely well from 150 to 175 and 175 to 200. That's where he's the best from his approach. And I know the putter's hit or miss, but when it's right, it is really right. And I mentioned these are some less undulated, more benign green complexes where I think he can, handle his own there. So I just took a chance on Cam Young at 50 to 1. I thought it was a little bit too big of a number there.
You know where else he's really good too, Jack? Really good in that range that you're talking about, but he's also really good in that 125 to 150 range. He's sixth in approach, 125 to 150, and that's still projected to be above average compared to other tour courses, that kind of shot range. Even for him, he might be one of the lower ones on that poll. He might get more shots between that 150 to 175 or whatever the bucket range you were talking about there. But 125 to 150 as well. He should see a lot of shots from there because he does hit it long. Yeah. So yeah, I think Cam Young, like, that's somebody I'm actually really getting torn on now, especially hearing that you're on him. That makes me kind of get a little bit of a case of the FOMO here. I might have to do that. If you had to pick one though, real quick, not to put you on the spot, but Sam Burns or Cam Young, who has the better week?
Sam Burns.
Okay. Makes me feel a little bit better, but that's close, right?
Yeah, it is really close. Just give me Sam Burns on Bermuda.
I love it. All right, so going down the board here, was there anybody else here that we needed to talk about or no?
I will say I think Matt Fitzpatrick is really interesting because of his course history. I do really worry about where he's at right now because we've seen the driver kind of become an issue. And when we talk about Matthew Fitzpatrick, the changes that he's made in his driver over the last 2 years and getting that added distance and just really being able to use that as a weapon was such a big part in his surge and winning that U.S. Open. And also the part of his game that's always been reliable has been the scrambling. And we've seen him kind of have some weird around the green numbers recently. I think 45 to 1 is a really good number given what he's done on TPC Southwind, but I just can't get there given what he's been doing recently. But I have seen love for Matthew Fitzpatrick. That would probably be the next one that I was looking at. I think Russell Henley's probably a good DFS play. I just don't think I can bet on him to win for quite a while.
Yeah, no, I can't. Definitely not. Beniana, 55 to 1. Sunjay M, 55 to 1. Corey Connors, yo boy, 66 to 1. Sepp Straka, 70 to 1. Keegan Bradley, yo the boy, 75 to 1. The Grill Master is 80 to 1. I guess before we get in that range, this is quite a jump off there. So we'll talk about 80 to 1. Yeah, JT Poston is in that range. So is Justin Rose, Siwoo Kim, quite a bit in there. Beniana's been golfing really well. Yeah, he's kind of putting his game all together here lately. Is it only a matter of time before he wins? Are you looking there? Are you looking at your boy Corey Connors, Straka, he almost won it here just a year ago? I mean, this is a very interesting range here.
Yeah, I'm in on Beniana, and I got him at a great number, Joey, and I knew it was going to get smashed. I hopped on it the second I saw it, 90 to 1 on Beniana.
Whoa, you got steam that much?
I hit it on Monday morning, and I knew it was going to get jumped on, and I'm pretty jacked about catching that. Good call. Pretty jacked about catching that 90 to 1 on Beniana because 55 to 1 I wouldn't be there, but 90 to 1 I'm absolutely in. We talked about Lucas Glover making the switch to the broomstick putter at the top of the show when breaking down his win last week. Beniana's done the exact same, and he's had the exact same results. It's going on around the tour. This is a copycat league. Beniana's been really good on the greens recently. We know he can absolutely nuke it with his driver, which he's been doing recently. The approaches have been really good. He's got a T12 in the past on this course as well. So 90 to 1, was happy to take a chance there on Beniana. I also hit Keegan at 90 to 1 as well. I thought that was it kind of, I know we're not up in the Northeast, But I kind of feel like Keegan's getting that same vibe this week as he was going into the Travelers, where he was also in this 80 to 90 to 1 range where no one was talking about him. And I think it's because we haven't seen Keegan a lot recently since he picked up that victory, but he missed the cut at the Open Championship. I'm not going to hold that against him. Prior to that, his start before was a T21 at the Rocket Mortgage, and then before that, he won. Keegan's a 2-time winner on tour this season. Like Ben-An and Lucas Glover, he hasn't gone to the broomstick putter, but he's completely flipped the script on the putting greens. He's the 17th best putter on tour this season. The approach has been really good. I know he doesn't have good career results here, but I think 90 to 1 is a really big number. And Keegan, like Sam Burns, like Cameron Young, I personally think Keegan absolutely deserves to be on this Ryder Cup team with what he's done this year. And also given that he's 37 and this is probably his last opportunity to do so. But deserve doesn't get you shit. And I think Keegan, he's been outspoken about how much this Ryder Cup means to him for so long. And I think he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. So I was happy to take a chance on him at 90 to 1 as well. But there's some good guys in this range too. I've seen love from my boy Corey Connors as well. He's been actually pretty bad on this course. I don't think he's got a result inside the top 30 in 5 career appearances. I think Straka is a fair number at 70. And I think Griot even is pretty fair at 80 as well. I mean, talk about another guy who's flipped the script with the putter this season. I think Griot is a pretty fair number at 80. So that's who I was kind of looking at. But before I ask for your thoughts, I don't want to forget on this guy either. He kind of got sandwiched in when we stopped the 45 to 1s, but Hideki at 50 feels like a pretty goddamn big number.
It's a very big number. And I'll say there's quite a few reasons to be on Hideki. His approach has been off the charts here recently, just over the last few weeks. I think that, I just too many guys I'm betting this week. That's why I couldn't do it. But there's a very, very fair number for Hideki Matsuyama. So
yeah,
I would not hate you if you did that at all. I like that.
I think a lot of people too last week when he missed the cut. You probably didn't see it, and I'm not going to blame anybody for not watching Thursday, Friday of the Wyndham Championship. But Hideki on both par 5s, or 2 of the 4 par 5s in the first 2 rounds, he plugged himself in the bunker. I think he played the par 5s like 3 over on the week, which really screwed his week. But just a couple of bad breaks that led to like really bad around the green and putting numbers for him. But it was honestly just a couple of bad breaks. And Hideki, like I talked about this on the show last week, I think the biggest thing for him is he just hasn't been able to put together 4 consistent rounds because the approach numbers have been awesome. Off the tee has been really good. I mean, he pops in basically every ball striking category that you go and look at as of late, but he just hasn't been able to piece it together. I wouldn't blame anyone for taking the 50 to 1 though, because I do think, I mean, putting him and Ben-An at the same number is, I mean, you're going to take Hideki.
Yeah, you probably should, especially if you are betting Ben-An, but you are getting him in a much better number. So
exactly, nearly
kudos
double,
to you.
Nearly double the price. You know,
kudos to you on that. And I didn't realize that Cam Young, not to go all the way back, but I didn't realize that Cam Young got steamed that hard this week either. That's I don't love that. Why it actually makes me want to bet him more. Because like it's like your instinct almost feels backed up in a sense, like because when it gets steamed, there's some real sharp money coming in on him,
right?
So I kind of want to do that, but at the same time, like DFS, when the guy's super owned, you're like, yeah, that's probably the week that he busts. So I don't know, kind of caught in between there. No.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. So that 80 range, though, like you were saying, I like Siwoo Kim this week.
I don't blame you.
I like Siwoo. Good approach. Has a win at the Sony Open this year. Not good course history. But you'd think his game would be okay here because he doesn't need to be very long. It's just not really that course where he has to be. And he's accurate. Second in approach from 150 to 175 too. He's second. So I really like Siwoo Kim, even though my first instinct is never really to bet him, but that's a good number. I feel like 80-1 for Siwoo Kim there.
I agree.
90 range. Let's just move down a little bit. There's Poston 80-1, Rose 80-1, Cam Davis is 90-1, Lucas Glover is 90-1, Steven Jägermeister 90-1, and then we start getting into that 100 range with Denny Mack and Harris English. A couple guys here, 90-1. Now after the gloves win, now he's 49th in points. So he's not safe yet.
Mm-mm.
He ain't safe after this win. Good fit from a heater standpoint, too. He's 15th in approach, 150 to 175 yards. He's projected to see a lot of shots between that 150 to 200 yard range, like we've been talking about with most of these guys. So I actually think 90-1. I'm going to go right back to the well. I didn't bet him last week, but I feel like this is a chance where maybe he does back-to-back it with Lucas Glover. So that's too big of a number for me. What are your thoughts on the Glove Master?
Yeah, I'm in too. T3 here last year. And obviously he's been in just, to even take away the win, he's been in just outstanding form. And if we've learned anything about Lucas Glover over the years, it's that when he gets in these heaters, he rides them, and we'll be able to tell when Lucas Glover cools off. And until then, I'm happy to get on. And I caught 125-1 on him at the start of the week as well. So I saw that number, $5 easy to go and bet Lucas Glover at that number to go and do it again. I'm not going to be mad if he doesn't cash that one. I do like that bet. I also got Harris English at 100-1 as well. Guy who's won on this course before, has 2 other career top 10s here. I know he's been a little bit all over the place recently. That's kind of just been how his season is, but he's been really good in some of the better events. I mean, he finished T2 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, T3 at the Genesis, was top 10 at the U.S. Open. He's got 4 top 12s in designated events / majors this year, which shows you that Harris English, when he's right, he can still play with the best of them. And last week at the Wyndham Championship, wound up finishing T33, but I was really encouraged by his Sunday bogey-free 66, and he also was really solid on approach during the week as well. It was actually the 3rd best approach performance of his season. So if he can ride those hot irons, I know he's got the pedigree to win an event with these type of players. He's done it on this course before, so 100-1 was a number that I was happy to take on Harris English as well.
We're gonna both think this week. I feel it because we are on a lot of the same golfers here. It's going to happen. We're going to do the same thing we did last year. Willie Z, both getting an outright. We're going to get an outright here, and it might just be Harris English. Yeah, I'm on him. 100-1. I like it. He's tied with Matt Kuchar for most rounds at this course of anyone in the field and has almost performed almost a full stroke above expectation here. So, yeah, I really think that Harris English could be in store for a good week.
You want to hear what's crazy? Crazy Harris English stat I saw? Sorry to interrupt, but Harris English is the only defending champion in this field of this event. Justin Thomas isn't here.
That's crazy.
Will Zalatoris has an injured back. Brooks Koepka, Abraham Ancer, both on live. It's crazy. He's the only one who's won here before that's in the field this week.
Berger, yeah.
Berger is apparently just gone, just lost. My boy.
Where is
Berger. He's posting Instagrams for the last 3 months of his bag. I think what happened, and I don't mean to speculate on Daniel Berger here, but I think what happened was, so his last event was the U.S. Open in 2022. He had been kind of fighting a back injury throughout that whole time, and I think it was going to be a year rehab for him. And there were some rumors that he was going to qualify for the U.S. Open this year, but I think he just wanted to take the extra time, if I had to guess, and was just going to start fresh next season. And obviously he's a guy who's won multiple times on the tour. He's been around, represented the U.S. on the Ryder Cup. He's financially cool where he can take a year off. He's still going to have his tour card. He's still going to be allowed in good events. If I had to guess, that's probably what Daniel Berger did. But man, he's been off the map forever. Feels like people don't even know who he is anymore.
I mean, the last time he's been around, it feels like the Cubs won a World Series.
It's been forever since I've thrown a good old wager down on my boy Danny Berger.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm hoping he comes back here though soon or for the next season though.
You know, I'm actually probably shouldn't be too sad about it because he's really the one that got me into this whole golf betting mess, and I almost feel obliged like every week to go and bet on Daniel Berger. So it's probably saved me some money that he's been out for the last year.
Yeah, he would have been your Jason Day probably for this year.
Honestly, yeah, pretty close.
But yeah, he's won this event twice. So I mean, definitely kind of sucks to see him not here, not even on tour at all, not even golfing. But yeah, we'll see how that goes later on. I just kind of want to skip. Like, I don't want to skip to just ranging. We can stop doing the whole range thing. I feel pretty comfortable saying that it's going to be somebody that's going to win this tournament, 100-1 or under. But throw me some names, Jack. Like it's kind of, I'm going to go name game here. It's our boys range, or you just like toss some names that you really feel like have a strong shot over 100-1.
Yeah, there are a couple. I think Chris Kirk is a name, 175-1. Has always got most of his wins, maybe all of his wins actually on Bermuda. I don't think Chris Kirk's going to win this event, but that was a name that I've heard some love for this week. Alex Smalley, who absolutely bent me over backwards last week at Sedgefield. He's a bad
Come
player.
on, Jack. This ain't the John Deere Classic. What are we doing?
Dude, I'm telling you, Alex Smalley's approach numbers are of a player that shouldn't be playing in the John Deere Classic. I mean, this guy sticks it to inside 10 feet all the time, and he putts like fucking Stevie Wonder. This guy can't make dick, but I've seen that Bermuda is his best surface. And I'm telling you, go look at this dude's ball striking. I was following him like shot by shot last week. The amount of birdie looks that he gives himself is unbelievable. And knowing my luck, he's probably going to have like a good first couple of days, and I'm going to feel like shit because I bet him the week before. That's how these things tend to go for me.
FRL, baby, FRL.
So I've actually considered Alex Smalley as an FRL. And I think the Shankopotamus 200-1, baby.
That's
talk
nuts.
about approach and putting. Give me some Adam Shank, man. I mean, 200-1. I don't think it would be bananas, and I would actually fucking hate myself if Adam Shank won this event. Because I just don't have the money to get there, but 200-1 is a great number.
I am betting Shank. I am betting Shank. I actually got him. I got him at 250-1.
I'm gonna bet him first round leader.
Do it. There we go. We're settled in on Adam Shank. It would hurt more if he won and we didn't bet him. I think it would. Because like $5 I can live with. $5-10 I can live with that. I know you're not making a killing at that point, but the longer odds kind of evens itself out. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the Shank Meister. Yeah, man, Smalley, I just can't. It's not the John Deere. I can't. I am gonna bet Aaron Rye though.
Of course you are.
Even though it's not the John Deere. But
how did he do last week? It might have been the week before. I think he missed the cut.
No, he was cut last week.
Oh, yeah, that was last week.
He was cut last week. Overall, though, he's golfing really well this year or lately. He's tied for 64th in the standings. Needs a big weekend here.
He feels like a poor man's Tommy, and that's sad.
He is kind of a poor man's Tommy. Like, he has good weeks and just can't get there.
I don't know. Maybe Tommy's a poor man's Aaron Rye. Who's going to win on the PGA Tour first?
Tommy's the rich man's Aaron Rye.
They're both the same people. They're the fucking Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, I don't know.
The same people. Both Brits that can't win on the PGA Tour.
Pieces of shit. No, I'm just playing. Very good greens and reg from 150 to 175 yards and approach shots from that distance. So, yeah, not being the length guy, the accuracy definitely plays. So, Aaron Rye, I feel like a top 20 would be like I might put a full unit on like a top 30 or top 20. And that's crazy to say because I usually never do like full units for top 20s. But I really feel like this could be a week where he just comes out guns a-blazing just to kind of make it to the BMW next week. So, and I hope that's the case because for him, us being guys that talk about him pretty much every week. Ride Brad, the
It's
Rachel,
not by my choice.
the Ruben. Yeah, not by your choice, by my choice. But I want to see him. I want to see him next week. I would like to see him golf next week. It's going to take kind of a miracle, but if he wins, he's in. So yeah, that's my pick there. Long shots. Otherwise, I do like your Chris Kirk call. Haven't bet him. I haven't bet anybody else as far as the long shot call goes. I'll toss out Kurt Kitayama for the talent. I'll just say his name. I'm not betting him. Thomas Dietrich had a pretty good week last week.
Great first round. Everything else was kind of dick.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, first round. That's about all I saw last week because I had obligations. So, anyways, with that said, though, Jack, prop bets, you got anything this week?
I'm just gonna be in the first round leader. I'm back, baby, like a sucker. I'm thinking first round leader. I'm thinking Fleetwood, Cam Young, Alex Smalley, Adam Schenk. I think those four are who's gonna be in. One of those guys. I like it. I think Schenk tees off. I think Schenk tees off super early in the morning. So does Fleetwood. Not sure about the other two. I think Cam Young does too, actually.
I really like the Cam Young pick, first round leader.
He does.
Feels like a Cam Young first round leader type of week. And who the fuck? How do I know? I'm horrible at betting first round leaders. I got one right my entire life, probably.
Yeah, thanks for that again.
It might have been Cam Young, wasn't it?
It was Cam Young. It was Cam Young at the Open.
Yeah, it was Cam Young. I might have had another one somewhere down the line, but that's the one I remember. Anyways, I don't have any other prop bets right now. Might have some later that I'll tweet out. But yeah, Jack, I guess we should probably get into one and done. It's close. What is it now?
Oh, I'm pissed. You're up a lot. Like, I'm gonna need to kill in these playoffs. You are up you're up 180, 178.
I didn't think it was that crazy.
Dude,
wow.
I've just been on a dreadful run since I got the Ricky win. I had my best finish in one and done in the last 5 weeks was a 42nd from Eric Cole. I had him come 42nd. Matt Fitzpatrick missed the cut at the Scottish. I took Brooks at the Open. He finished 64th. I took Ludwig at the 3M. He finished 64th. And then Denny can actually go jump off a bridge. Missed the cut last week on the number. Was actually downright terrible. I saw a tweet from someone say he was downright terrible in the Pro-Am today. So, yeah, not happy about Denny. He's put me in a real bad spot. So I'm going to need to kill in these playoffs. And you, of course, have the lead, good sir. It's going to be really interesting to see who we have left for these playoffs. We probably didn't handle this as well as we could have, but here we are.
No, exactly. I don't want to bet anyone that I feel like is going to be for sure in next week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to figure out who to use last. I don't even know if I'm going to have a guy at the Tour Championship.
Like, how many people? Yeah, like, how many of these dudes? Wow, this is very tough. Because now you got to start thinking where guys are in the standings, of course, that kind of have that floor of being in. You know what? Oh, this is probably super dumb. I don't think I've taken Siwoo Kim, have I?
You just used Siwoo last week at the Wyndham. He came 33rd. What is literally you used him last week?
Okay,
unbelievable. I don't think I've used Siwoo yet. You used him last week.
God damn it!
That is the most absurd one and done thing that's happened all year long.
That is, and we've had a lot of absurd one and done comments. Me mostly, because
yes, you've used Siwoo.
Okay, damn. Yeah, see, that's how much I was not paying attention to after our show, like what I even said, because I come up with these on the spot, just so everyone is aware.
I know.
All right. Well, there goes that plan, that master plan that I didn't have. Wow, who else can I go with down the board? Have I used Glover?
No, you haven't used Lucas Glover. That's for damn sure.
Is that crazy this week?
I would say with the lead, it's crazy. But as someone who's trailing you, I'd love for you to use Lucas Glover.
Yeah, but
And
how
to
many
be
of my
honest,
big
it could be a very good play. He's been great.
how many of my how many of my big guns have I not used though? I know I've used a lot of these dudes. I mean, I don't think I've used Tommy.
Yeah, you've used Tommy. I told you used Tommy in Japan the third week of the season
Yeah,
for God
so
knows
dumb.
what God knows what reason.
So dumb. I thought he was a good play that week. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've used Morikawa. I don't want to use him here. Anyways, you know what? Cam Young?
You have not used Cam Young.
I think that's what I'm going to go with this week. It's kind of I think it's safe-ish.
I haven't
Not
used
safe.
I haven't used
safe.
Cam Young either. I don't think.
Where's your head at, being the guy trailing? And
I did use Cam Young. I used Cam Young in the match play, and he came second, so I can't be mad at him for that. So you're going to use who are you going with?
I hate taking someone don't have an outright on yet.
Oh, you're going to use Cam Young?
I'm thinking about it. It's either that or Sam Burns, and I think I might have used Sam Burns too.
No, you have not used Sam Burns. I'm going to double check. But I don't think you've used Sam Burns.
Who do I feel safer about? Honestly, I probably think Glover's the safest.
You haven't used Sam Burns. You haven't used Cam Young, Sam Burns, or obviously Glover.
I know it's going to be a horrible decision. Let's go with the Bermuda Burns.
You're going Sam Burns?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What are you thinking here?
I don't have many choices left.
Why did I take Siwoo last week?
He has great track record at Wyndham.
Yeah, it was still stupid.
Elite. I mean, I bet him too. Man, I really wish I didn't use Cam Young. I've already used Sam Burns. I think I got to use this guy here because I don't want to use him next week.
Glove, baby.
Oh, man. I'm going Morikawa.
Wow. I don't hate it. I actually really like it. You've used Tyrrell Hatton.
I have used Tyrrell Hatton.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right?
You didn't use him in a major, did you?
Where did I use Hatton? Now I got to find this. Our one and done has just turned into a shit show. I got stuff everywhere.
Yeah, but that's perfectly fine. See, that's why I love this part of the show, though, when we get into it, because it's just like we're just sitting here going back and forth, and it's probably not the best like listening experience, but at least you see where our heads are at, and most of the time not at.
I swore I used Hatton, but I can't find a spot where it says I used Hatton. But I swore I used him. I swore I used him. No, that's all right. I could save him for next week if I haven't used him. I'll use Morikawa. That's fine.
Good call. Good call. All right. Well, there it is. You got Morikawa. I have Sam, Bermuda, Grass, Burns. And we're going to roll with that. Favorite outright for this week, Jack?
I just realized I used Tyrrell Hatton at the CJ Cup way back in the fall. And I do remember off the top of my head saying, not going to be worried about using him later in the year. Well, that was a mistake on my part. Little did I know he was going to go on to have the best year of his career.
I think I agreed with you too.
Probably. Favorite outright. Honestly, my favorite one that I got most excited about was Benny On, 90-1. I thought that number was amazing. I think Benny On can play. Absolutely. Now he's down to 55-1. I don't love that number, but give me 90-1 on a guy who's been great with the putter, great with his ball striking. Yeah, love that bet. What about you?
I think you got some absolutely fantastic numbers this week, all around. Cam Young, Sam Burns, Benyon. I forget the other one that you said
Glover,
earlier.
125 to 1 on the glove.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Coming off a win,
Big one.
why'd they put him there? I don't understand that to begin with, but it is what it is. You got a good number. My favorite outright of the week. Damn, I hate to just be that guy, but no, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to say John Rahm. I'm going to go with Morikawa. I think he brings it home this week.
I might have to. I do have some money left. Believe it or not, I have 7 guys, but 4 of them are 90 to 1 or longer. So that obviously didn't take a lot of wagering. My only 3 guys who I have under 90 to 1 are Hatton, Burns, and Cam Young at this point in time. I don't have a ton of money left over, but if Morikawa looks good on Friday, maybe I'll toss something on him. Hopefully I just have like a first round leader money laying in my account, and that way I could throw it down.
There you go. Good live bet it. But you know what? We built our cards pretty similar to this week. That's exactly what I did. I did 4 bets, 35 to 1 and under. So Rahm, Morikawa, Sam Burns, and Jason Day. And then the rest of them, Siwoo Kim, Harris English, Lucas Glover, Aaron Rai, and Adam Schenk are all either 80 to 1 or higher. So Schenk 250 to 1. That doesn't count because that's like a little, here you go, little sprinkle. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so 4 and 4 is kind of how I split it up. So 8, is that, 8 bets? 8 real bets, an extra kind of add on. So a lot this week. That's probably more than I usually like to get to. Probably between that 6 to 7 range is like fine with me. But I'm still feeling okay this week. I feel good about our process this week. I really do. And we're on a lot of the same golfers. So, we're going to be celebrating next week during our course and tournament preview for the BMW Championship at Olympia Fields. It's going to be a hell of a next week. I can't believe it's almost here. We've been really looking forward to that tournament. Jack, any final thoughts here before we go ahead and wrap this one up and look forward to next week?
Yeah, this was obviously a tournament that we both loved last year with Willie Z walking it off in the playoff to get his first career victory. I think it's an intriguing course that offers a lot of danger. And obviously the playoffs are always really intriguing. And we got the BMW Championship back in our neck of the woods this year, which I'm super excited about. It's been arguably outside of the majors. I think in the last 2 years, it's been arguably the best PGA Tour event. And obviously last time it was held at Olympia Fields too, it was an incredible finish with Jon Rahm and Dustin Johnson going back and forth, draining long, like 40, 50 foot putts. So super stoked for what's to come next week. Super fortunate to be able to be there at Olympia Fields and be covering it live. Super excited for that. And yeah, hopefully let's end the 2023 campaign on a high note with a couple of wins here, Joey.
That'd be beautiful with me. That'd be fine with me. Poor JT again, though. You just reminded me again. So that's gonna suck not seeing him there. But
we're gonna have to do a Ryder Cup show here in a couple of weeks. I want to go through everything because there's a lot of guys in contention for those last spots on the United States team. Team Europe even has a couple of interesting back end spots too, but for the United States, it's a battle here in the playoffs. I mean, Sam Burns, Cam Young, Keegan, all right there in the mix. Obviously, Brian Harman and Wyndham Clark threw their names in there and are cemented on the team now because of their major victories. Justin Thomas obviously misses out on the playoffs. If I had to guess, I don't think you can bring him just because of how well other guys have been playing, but it's an awesome debate, and I'd love to chat it out with you. So let's try to do that sometime in the next month if we can.
Yeah, I think that's a good conversation piece. I definitely do because a lot of interesting names there. Right now, I agree with you. I don't think I'd put JT on that team.
Keegan has to be on that team. I will freak out, and I know Keegan will too. I'll freak out if Keegan's not on that team because he's had an incredible season to revitalize his game. Won twice. Scotty Scheffler's won twice this year.
You can't keep off Keegan. I don't think you can keep off Wyndham Clark either.
No, Wyndham Clark's on the team. I think it would
That's
be
major. That's
if Sam Burns nor Cameron Young, if neither of them win a playoff event, you can't take either of them over Keegan Bradley. You can't.
yeah. Honestly, Sam Burns, this is a kind of a big stretch here for him.
Huge.
This is a huge. Well, yeah, for all those guys though, really. Keegan, they're going to be looking at him like a microscope. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. We'll definitely talk about that. I'm kind of thinking that how this plays out down the stretch, though, it'll kind of speak for itself. But who knows if you get some top fives in there mixed in with some of these guys, then what do you do? Like if a couple of them get top fives and you're still battling it out, it's a big conversation, debate that could be had there. But yeah, Jack. With that said, we'll go ahead and shut this thing down. I hope everybody cashes your tickets, all your bets, hits an outright. Jack, can we get an outright this week? I think we can.
Let's run it back at St. Jude's, baby.
Starting to sound like Thomas the Engine over here. I think we can. Sorry, JT. Another shot. I had to say Thomas. But yeah, with that said, go ahead and check out all the content at ontapsportsnet.com. You can follow all of the Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Find it there right at ontapsportsnet.com and at ontapsportsnet, all social media platforms. We are Golf on Tap, can be found at OnTap Golf on Twitter. Jack is at Jack Bushman 2. I am at Joey Knows Nothing. We are out. Crack 'em, cash 'em, lock 'em. Good luck, and fuck 'em.